For the first, is Kevin Owens leaving the WWE? Becky Lynch defends her Raw Women's title, and a lot of really good matches. Good episode of Raw tonight. Let's get into it. Ow! What are you, dude? Love? You all right?
Have mercy!
Ow!
Daddy-o!
Hey!
That was a good episode of Raw.
It was pretty good.
Like the Dude Love era.
I'm like awake. I don't know if it's the coffee or the Raw that's keeping me awake, but that Raw was pretty good. That was a solid episode of Raw. Finish with a main event of Kevin Owens versus Big E. How you can argue with that? Tremendous episode of Raw. Shout out to Angelo. Shout out to Brian Firth. Shout out to Lauren Cronish. Shout out to everybody tuning in right now on the chat. Appreciate you. Be like Angelo. Be like Brian. Support the Ringside Report Network. Go to join.ringsidereport.net. Join the YouTube channel. Go to donate.ringsidereport.net. Donate to the Ringside Report Network. Keep us alive. Keep us going.
Save me.
Look at this guy. He's here. I got a co-host. You know what I mean? Come on, guys. I got a co-host. Hit us up on Super Chat. Support the Ringside Report Network. Be a member of the team. Be a fan. Be a good friend. Brian Firth wants to know, out of 10, Brian Firth, supporter of the Ringside Report Network, good man, over at donate.ringsidereport.net. Buys a lot of merch over at merch.ringsidereport.net. Got a lot of ways for you to support. Brian Firth wants to know, out of 10, what would you give it?
I mean, we don't usually grade the TV shows, but...
For a Raw.
For a
Give
Raw?
it a Raw, you know.
I mean, for a Raw, that was like almost perfect. Like, that's like a 9.
Yeah, it was like a 9 Raw.
8 or 9, yeah.
Yeah, I would say a solid 8. Maybe not 9 because like we didn't have a lot of twists and turns, like story-wise, gimmick-wise, promo-wise, but match-wise, tremendous. Tremendous.
Yeah, very happy with Raw tonight.
Fantastic.
Great matchups. I didn't know it was Big E versus Kevin Owens for the first time ever. You figure with all the combinations of every Raw and every SmackDown, and every time they've kind of been involved in feuds or not even, they've never had a one-on-one match.
Yeah.
They were good.
They've definitely wrestled in tag team matches.
They had to. It had to be a New Day versus Kevin and Sammy at some point.
Kevin
and Jericho.
He was in the New Day for a moment, and then he turned on them at one point, right?
I think he was like, for Raw in Montreal, he was like in the babyface the New Day. I think the SmackDown in Ottawa, he turned heel on them.
Right. So for an episode of Raw, I'd say definitely 8 or 9. You know, we don't usually grade the Raws or SmackDowns on 10. We usually stick that for the pay-per-view. But for a Raw, you know, for grading it on a Raw scale, I'd say a solid 8 or a 9. It was a very good episode of Raw. It started off real hot with Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair, and then it ends off with Kevin Owens versus Big E. And we had a lot of definitive finishes, you know, like real finishes. The Kevin Owens thing, though, I think that's the big story of Raw. Like, as far as the stories that came out of Raw, I think the Kevin Owens promo earlier in the night, and then the Kevin Owens match, and then the way he was kind of disposed of at the end of the night, leads you to believe that he won't be staying in the WWE for very long. It was strange. It was a strange way to book Kevin Owens, and it definitely feels like they're planning an exit, or at least he is.
Don't buy his merch now. It's going to be on clearance pretty soon.
Or buy it now because you won't be able to, or wait till the Kevin Steen merch comes out. It was weird. So Kevin Owens, he was participating into the Seth Rollins Big E thing. So Seth Rollins does an in-ring promo, talks about how he won the ladder match last week to earn a title shot against Big E for the WWE title. Big E shows up, talks about Seth Rollins and how he's mentally unstable. Seth says, Big E, you know, you had a win over Bobby Lashley and you beat Drew McIntyre, and that was all well and good, but you're not on my level, that you're not ready to become WWE champion. You don't want to have the burden of being champion. You should go back to being a joke with your friends. He says Xavier Woods, King Xavier Woods, that's a joke. Kofi Mania, that was a joke. And Big E is a joke. And Big E, of course, took exception to that. The promo was, not bad from Big E and Seth. Seth saying some things, saying, Big E, you're not championship material. You're not on my level. He's hitting on some key parts there that he's got to hit on, which is, Seth Rollins has been a main eventer in the WWE for quite some time, right? He's
highly
been
decorated.
Yeah, highly decorated, main event of WrestleMania, multi-time champion. He's kind of done it all and been there and been one of the top stars in WWE for the past 5, 6, 7 years, right? So he's been around for a while as a top draw. Big E has been part of a group in the New Day who, they do a lot of comedy, and he's just been one of the members, highly decorated tag team, but this is his first run as WWE champion. So Seth Rollins telling him, look, you're not on my level, give me the belt, you go back to doing the New Day stuff. That hits. That hits pretty good because it's a real possibility that Seth Rollins could take the WWE title and then Big E goes back to doing whatever the hell else he'll do. It's possible. I don't think it's going to happen here with Seth, though. I don't think it does happen, but I thought the promo with Seth and Big E was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, hit on some good key issues, like you said. But, I don't think Big E is going to go back into obscurity like Kofi did. But,
I don't want to move your mic away from you. I'm just trying to get you to talk right into it because I think we're not quite hearing you as well as we need to.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. What are you saying?
I was saying, it doesn't seem likely that Big E is going to lose this feud with Seth Rollins and, head back to the mid-card. But that could happen. His main event run isn't fully set in stone, Kofi Kingston had his main event push taken away, and he might not ever see it again. It's very real, we could see Big E. But I think he's got the talent, the youth. The youth is a big thing on his side. And Big E does have experience. I mean, he's been on TV now almost 10 years.
In big matches, too. He's done a lot.
Yeah, he came
but
in.
But mostly in tag team situations. On his own as a singles guy, he's not that established.
And his promos are still, kind of little conversational. He does little jokes. Pop culture. He made a Highlander joke tonight.
He needs a catchphrase.
Yeah.
He needs something that the fans can kind of chant along with him. He doesn't have any of that right now. The New Day, what made them very popular, a lot of it was catchphrases. We are the WWE World Tag Team Champions. And the whole crowd would go along. The New Day has a lot of catchphrases, and they're very popular, and they worked really well with getting the New Day over. Currently, Big E has no catchphrases. And, in pro wrestling, it may sound cheap and stupid, but look, it's pro wrestling, guys. Catchphrases work.
It helps.
How did The Rock get over? People chanted along with The Rock. The millions and millions.
This isn't sing along with The Rock.
Right? I mean, come on. The Rock did it. Stone Cold did it.
Trips.
Triple H did it.
Cena.
See, all the best wrestlers have catchphrases. And if Big E wants to be, even Roman Reigns has head of the table, acknowledge me. He's got all these catchphrases because they work well on T-shirts. And if you're repetitive, people know what you say and know what to look for, especially if you're a babyface or you're trying to get support from the crowd, you're trying to get the crowd behind you. You need a couple of catchphrases, and right now Big E is doing a lot of these rambling promos. Talked about his aunt, saying, I talked to my aunt, and she said, what, and I asked her, what should I do about Seth Rollins? And, he gets into the preacher voice sometimes, and it's kind of like, all right, okay. But he gets lost in that, and it doesn't get to the point, and he says his aunt says Seth Rollins was touched, and it's like, okay, that was his big kind of line in the promo, and it didn't work. It hurts me to say negative things about Big E because I love him so much. He's got so much going for him. He can talk, but just when he's talking, there's not much being said.
Yeah, it's a lot of words, and then
a lot of
when
fluff.
he gets to his big line, it just doesn't land. I don't know if it's what's being written for him or his delivery, but I was noticing a lot of that tonight. Just lines just weren't landing. Bianca had a few lines in her promo that it felt like she paused for an applause or a cheer, and it just didn't come. Big E had the same problem too.
Kevin Owens' promo was landing though, And that, I think, is an interesting part of the show tonight. Kevin Owens comes out during the Big E and Seth Rollins promo. Kevin Owens comes out, calls Seth Rollins a delusional dumbass, which the crowd liked. Who doesn't like that? Talks about, and he comes out with fire, too. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't seem... Like, when he does fire up, it's like this kind of preacher fire up that's like, it doesn't quite work. When Kevin fires up, you feel it, and you're like, oh, he's angry, you know?
That's true. And, like, that also worked at the end of the show. You know, you couldn't figure out how E was feeling, you know, and the way he acted. I mean, we'll get to that later, but it was that same kind of problem, you know? Like, E was supposed to be angry, but then, you know, we couldn't quite tell. It seemed like he was going to shake Kevin Owens' hand, accept his apology, but then he didn't. So, like, it didn't feel organic.
It didn't feel like the crowd was fully wanting Big E to attack Kevin Owens there. Like, I know Kevin Owens is supposed to be a heel at the end of the show, I think, but I don't know.
No, he was
Harold
sincerely
Schneider,
apologized.
Harold dropping a super chat. Thank you, Harold. He says, really enjoy the wrestling history knowledge that Ben, Dave, and Johnny have that helps me get the context. This is the only place I can get that. That's right. We have been watching wrestling for a long, long time, and we've been watching very closely, and we're a bit of wrestling historians here on the program. So we're not only watching all the pro wrestling now, it's now, or was it then, now, forever. That's really what we are. We've been watching pro wrestling. You know, I've been watching pro wrestling since I was about 4 or 5 years old. And once I started, I never really stopped, and I've been watching all the wrestling since then, and that was in about, I was good 30-something years ago. So it's a lot of wrestling knowledge in my brain, and it's like the thing I know the most about. Although, yeah, but there's a lot of things I know about, but wrestling is just crazy, you know?
And, like...
And you too. You're like upset. We're obsessed with pro wrestling. We love pro wrestling.
I know I'm gonna be that guy, that old man sitting in the cafe going, "I saw Stone Cold."
That's right.
And The Rock.
People will be like, "Who's Stone Cold? Who are you talking about?"
And I know I'll be that guy because I already am that guy.
WWE. Yeah, I know. We saw Stone Cold. What was it? Undertaker, Kane, Stone Cold, and The Rock in a fatal 4-way cage match at a house show at the Bell Center in Montreal, like, in the 90s.
Yeah, it was like 99, 2000.
The best.
Yeah. Crazy. All sorts of, I mean, I was telling you, like, how we were at a Raw in, I think, 2002 when Randy Orton announced he had, like, a separated shoulder and was kind of this babyface promo about how he was going to come back and be good babyface for everybody. And the Montreal crowd was not having it. We were booing him.
Like, screw your shoulder,
chanting,
Randy. We don't care.
Nana, hey, goodbye. And because I was watching the Ruthless Aggression documentary, and they're saying that was the click that turned Randy Orton into like the legend killer heel persona. That's what
we helped to turn Randy heel.
Yeah, I was there.
We invented the legend killer.
I made Randy Orton.
That's right. So Kevin Owens comes out, great Montreal wrestler. He knows a lot about pro wrestling as well. This guy, his whole life, eats, sleeps, and breathes professional wrestling. You know,
business.
From a young age. This guy's legit. He loves it. I love a guy who loves it like I do. Kevin Owens talks about Big E and Seth Rollins and Becky and Bianca and how they're all calling themselves the face of Raw, but he's the face of Raw. And he's going to keep on fighting. And, it didn't work out for him last week when he kept fighting. He didn't win the match. And as a matter of fact, he can't really remember the last time that it worked out for him so well in the ring. And, kind of saying, look, I've been losing a lot of matches here, right? And he says, it may be 3 months or 3 more years, but I will always keep fighting. And that is definitely a nod to his contract status in the WWE. I saw Sean Ross Sapp tweeting out that Kevin Owens only has 3 more months left in his contract, so he's one of these wrestling journalist guys, and it seems like Kevin Owens only does have 3 more months left in his deal, which that's what we've been hearing from all the different wrestling news sources over the past few months now, that Kevin Owens may be near the end of his WWE deal. And I don't know if he's going to re-sign. I don't know if the WWE wants to re-sign him, and right now he definitely seems a little bit lost in the shuffle. So we have Big E wanting to wrestle Seth Rollins tonight on Raw for the WWE Championship. Seth has his contract. Big E wants the match to happen tonight. Seth says, no, not tonight. I'm not ready. I'm not 100% because I went through that ladder match last week. Kevin Owens comes out and he's like, I want the match. Give me the match, Big E. I will wrestle you. So then it's Big E versus Kevin Owens in the main event. Seth Rollins, of course, shows up during the match and watches ringside. The match is actually quite good. Big E winds up pinning Kevin Owens after Seth Rollins punches Big E while the referee was distracted. Kevin Owens appears to see Seth Rollins punch Big E, goes to try and take advantage by pinning Big E, but then Big E reverses the pinfall and gets his own for the 3 count with a crucifix pin there on Kevin Owens. Big E, after the match, upset that Kevin Owens tried to take advantage of him and tried to kind of steal a win. Kevin Owens denying that he knew even that Seth was there or that Seth had hit him. Kevin says, look, I had no idea. I'm very sorry, Big E. I don't know. I'm half concussed. He's making a lot of excuses, but it does seem sincere from a babyface perspective because Kevin also is saying, Seth Rollins, you son of a bitch, this is all your fault. I want to wrestle you next week. So it's like, okay, so you're still a babyface because you're still aligning yourself with Big E and against Seth Rollins. You want revenge for what happened tonight. So Kevin is denying it, and Big E is not having any of Kevin's denial. He's like, no. You know that Seth Rollins punched me. You came to attack me on purpose, or you came to pin me and try to take advantage, be an opportunist here. You try to do it on purpose.
Yes, I don't believe you.
Right? And then Big E, after Kevin apologizes, Big E grabs Kevin Owens and hits him with the big ending. And that's how you close the show. It was weird. And the crowd didn't really know how to react. The crowd was kind of like, okay, all right. I think the crowd was supposed to pop for Big E for attacking Kevin Owens. I'm not sure why. Why would the crowd be happy? Because it was not clear. I mean, it looked like Kevin Owens saw Seth Rollins hit Big E and tried to take advantage there and win the match. But it's not like Kevin cheated or, punched Big E low or even won with Seth's interference. Like, he didn't even win.
Yeah, he had the pinfall reversal, which is a very jabroni way of losing.
Like,
that's a very jabroni way of losing.
Seth interferes. Kevin goes for the pin. Big E reverses. Kevin loses. Big E still hits his finisher on Kevin out of just disrespect.
Yeah.
When you book a guy like that, you're not booking him to do big things in the future. You're booking him to, I think, leave your company. I think they're burying him a little bit. I think next week Kevin Owens loses to Seth Rollins. He lost to Big E tonight. He took a beating. Well, not a beating, but he took Big E's finish after Big E stands tall. After winning, he also hits his finish, right? Double win for Big E. And next week, I guess we have Seth versus Kevin, where Kevin will also lose to Seth.
Yeah. And, in that promo at the end, it really felt like Kevin was setting Big E up to eat a stunner. He was saying, I'm sorry. Like, it feels like it's just and then kick, stunner. Like, it feels like that.
Yep.
And it didn't happen. And then when Big E grabbed Kevin, I was like, what? It felt like Big E was turning heel.
Yeah, it didn't feel nice for Big E. You didn't feel nice feelings about Big E. You kind of felt bad for Kevin because Kevin is like, I'm sorry, Big E. I'm sorry. So even if he did see Seth interfere, you could kind of rationalize what Kevin Owens did. It's like, okay, well, I'm in a match with this guy who's tough. He's down. I'm going to go try and pin him and see if I can win. Oh, okay, I didn't manage to do it and he beat me. Kevin didn't do anything that dastardly, you know? And for Big E, especially when Kevin is apologizing, I'm sorry, and then Big E is not accepting the apology, it felt like the moment where Kevin is like, fine, well, you don't want to accept my apology? Fuck you, stunner, ba-boom, and now I'm standing tall, and now all of a sudden, it's not just Seth and Big E, it's Seth and Kevin and Big E, and it's kind of like, okay, you have Big E as a babyface, Seth as a heel, Kevin as a tweener, and you could go from there, and you could do something with Kevin Owens, But it doesn't seem like they wanted to go in that direction.
No.
Like, I feel like if you wanted to do something with Kevin, he would have hit the stunner on Big E, and you would have gone from there. But if you want to bury Kevin, you have him lose the match despite the interference, and then also take the finisher, and then just keep losing matches until his contract's up. The fact that he said, I'm going to keep fighting, whether it's for another 3 months or another 3 years, I think maybe it seemed to me like he was saying, look, I either have 3 more months here in this company, or I take this 3-year deal that they're offering me. I don't know yet, but it didn't seem like he's taking the deal based on the end of the show.
Yeah. And, like, you know, from the perspective of, like, how Vince would perceive this, you know, like, to truly bury a guy was to have a guy go out there and apologize. You know, like, apology
It's weak.
is it's like the same thing as, like, the no balls, you know, and, like, that logic is like, if you apologize, that's the worst thing you could do as a wrestler. You want to fight for everything. Even if you're wrong, you still want to fight. Damn it. So for Owens to apologize, he said, I sincerely apologize.
I mean, he did it over and over
and
again,
then
profusely.
eat a finisher and lie flat in the ring. Like, that just means it's like, we're closing the storyline and you just look like a loser. It's not good.
No.
Not good.
Well, is it? I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing him in AEW. I think he'd be
yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, from
I
that
don't
perspective.
know.
Yeah, I mean,
Whatever.
yeah, I would like to see Kevin Steen be all elite.
Yeah.
You know, hanging, you know, like, join the elite. That'd be kind of cool.
Join the Inner Circle with Jericho.
Yeah. There's a lot of possibilities. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because it seems like they're not going to make this guy the number one guy.
They're not going to do shit with him. It's clear they're not doing shit with him. And I'm sure AEW would take him. It's a place where he would fit in so very well.
Yeah.
You know, Adam Cole's there. The Young Bucks are there. He's going.
Sami Zayn will probably be there.
I'm calling it now. Kevin Steen is all elite. It's fucking done. It's over. After tonight, he's leaving WWE. Angelo says it too. I think that's it for Owens and WWE. I agree with you 100%. I think it's over.
End of an era.
It's the end of the Kevin and Owens show. Hey, Miz just got voted off Dancing with the Stars, so he's going to come back. No more Kevin Owens shows on Raw. We got Miz, you know.
Yeah, we love him.
I see Jim Cornette, you know, he wishes death upon people that he doesn't want to see in wrestling, or he's been told not to wish death upon people, so he wishes they have a horrible accident and never come back. Like it's really horrible, some of the things he says. And I just think, you know, I also want wrestlers to go away, but I would never wish death upon people. When I want wrestlers to go away, I wish for them to have a successful career in Hollywood or reality television or what have you. Because, you know, when those guys do that, they go away and I don't have to deal with them anymore. I don't have to watch Batista anymore. I don't have to watch John Cena anymore. I wouldn't mind seeing The Rock once in a while. But, you know, even then, he kind of ran his course. I just wish for everybody to have a nice, successful career outside of WWE so I never see them again. I was really, really rooting for The Miz, voting over and over again on Dancing with the Stars for The Miz to win so that he could win that mirror ball trophy and go on and become a huge success in Hollywood so I would never have to watch Mike Mizanin step foot into a ring ever the fuck again.
Yeah, if he won, he probably would have got like some daytime TV gig, you know, like on the Today Show or something.
It would have been great.
Set for life.
Miz and Ellen is a new show.
Yeah.
Brawling.
Live
with Regis and Miz.
Regis?
We love you, Reg. We miss Kelly and Regis and Miz.
The ghost of Regis.
Is Kelly still on?
I think it's like Michael Strahan and somebody else now. Or,
no Kelly?
Or no Michael Strahan?
I thought it was Kelly Ripa and Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, I think Michael Strahan
Do they still do a show?
Maybe, but like, who knows?
God bless them.
But
I'm saying Kelly and Miz.
Yeah, and
it could have been Kelly and Miz, man.
Honestly, had a movie career.
Ryan Seacrest, Miz, they're interchangeable.
You know? Seemed like when Roman Reigns was going to have a film career, it seemed like, you know, I was hoping he would have success in that realm and go join the movies, but it doesn't seem like that's happening.
Yeah, I wish Roman Reigns would have a very successful movie career so we could stop watching him in the WWE, because I really, you know, I don't need to see that anymore. I watched Miz on Celebrity Wheel of Fortune. Did I tell you about this?
There's a Celebrity Wheel of Fortune? Is it Pat
Yes.
Sajak?
Yeah, it's Pat Sajak. Of course, he hosts it.
Who else
Pat
is?
and
Who are the
Vanna.
other celebrities?
So it was some lady I didn't know from
Real Housewives?
No,
or
I
something?
think Dancing with the Stars. I think
Okay.
she was like a judge on Dancing with the Stars or something. She was not good at Wheel of Fortune. Miz, also not good at Wheel of Fortune.
No, doesn't have a good grasp of the English language.
Who was good at Wheel of Fortune was Jason Alexander, also known as George Costanza.
Is he down Dancing with the Stars?
I don't know. It was Wheel of Fortune.
Okay, I thought it was like a Dancing with the Stars edition.
No, I
or
don't think
something.
so.
All right.
Maybe it was.
But
I don't know.
George.
Georgie boy killed it.
Yeah.
Georgie, there was like 3 letters on the board, and he's like, solve. And it was like, after the first 2 puzzles of the Wheel of Fortune, it was an hour-long show, and I watched it just to see George Costanza obliterate The Miz on Wheel of Fortune. I really enjoyed
You know what I bet
watching
happened? I bet he stopped having sex.
Did it. Exactly. He learned Portuguese as well.
What is Chickagiev?
So, it was really impressive to see Jason Alexander kick total ass. But after the first 2 puzzles, it was like, it's over. Like, it's clear that Jason Alexander was way better at Wheel of Fortune than The Miz or this other lady, and they had absolutely no chance of winning or even coming close. So just like, how badly is George Costanza going to kick Miz's ass in Wheel of Fortune? And it turns out pretty badly.
That sounds like a good half-hour of television.
It was an hour.
It was an hour?
Oh, it was great.
Oh.
It's a whole hour.
It's a long game.
I watched the whole thing. I was like, well, it was like a Saturday night. The UFC was in the afternoon. There was like nothing going on, and I think it was a Saturday or it was something. It was like a random night. I was just sitting on the couch with my son, and I was like, what's this? And it was Miz. I was like, oh, Jason Alexander. I was like, all right, I guess I'm watching this for the next hour, and I did. And I'm really happy I did. It was great.
That
It was
fantastic.
much better than like an hour of, Rampage or whatever.
Yeah.
Rampage is not so good all the time. I got to see Miz and George Costanza play Wheel of Fortune. I mean, come on. Pat Sajak was there. It's pretty good. But it's like, how come Miz is getting these opportunities from WWE? How come Miz is on Wheel of Fortune? Like, I want to see Xavier Woods on Wheel of Fortune. I want to see Otis on Wheel of Fortune. I want to see T-Bar on Wheel of Fortune. Get T-Bar on the wheel.
I love that T-Bar. T-Bar and T-Bone.
T-Bar. T-Bar, T-Bone.
Believe it or
That's-
not,
actually,
T-Bar
that's-
isn't at home.
Coco the Monkey.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, God. So I think Kevin Owens is leaving WWE. All that to say that The Miz is terrible. He's done with Dancing with the Stars. He's coming back, which leaves less room for Kevin Owens to do a talking segment on Raw. So Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair opened the show. Tremendous match.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that would be match of the night because I really wasn't sure how anything was going to be able to top it. But then Damian Priest and T-Bar fucking tore the house down, so they topped it. That was my favorite match. But every match tonight was good except for maybe 1 or 2. But everything was pretty damn good. Kevin Owens was versus Big E. Very good. Interesting finish. Good main event. Big E, Kevin Owens.
Solid.
They said first time ever one-on-one. I'll take them for their word tonight. I mean, why not? Let's believe them tonight. But it was a very solid match. It had a finish with a little interference, but still, it worked out. And considering what we saw up until that point, the little interference finish is not so bad. Because we saw some clean finishes tonight. We saw some good stuff. We saw Becky Lynch get a win over Bianca Belair. A little bit of cheating from Becky Lynch there in the opener. She unbuckled a turnbuckle there. Bianca ran into the exposed steel. And then Becky Lynch rolls up Bianca, also grabs a handful of tights. So exposed turnbuckle and the tights. Becky winds up retaining the Raw Women's title.
Crowd loved it.
Crowd was really into it and really into Becky. That was another thing. Becky was the babyface in this match. I don't understand what they were trying to do here. Bianca cut a pre-match promo. Becky cut a pre-match promo. Bianca's promo seems a little heelish. Bianca nonstop talks about how she's bigger and better and stronger than everybody, how all the matches that she's lost, she makes excuses for. I wasn't ready at SummerSlam. I keep getting screwed. I didn't get pinned at this match. It's a lot of excuses that heels would make. It's really strange promo material for Bianca Belair. I don't know why they're doing this to her, But in the match, like you saw, Becky Lynch does a thing. She does a kip up. The crowd on their feet. The crowd is on their feet cheering Becky Lynch during the match. The match was so good. The crowd gave Becky and Bianca a standing ovation when it was all said and done. But you know what the visual was? Becky Lynch winning and an entire arena getting to their feet and cheering.
And then Bianca standing in the ring, you know, kind of clutching her shoulder, you know, trying to garner sympathy from the audience, when they should know that doesn't work.
No.
When you stand in the ring, you're like, ow, my arm, cheer for me. You know? Like when Triple H did that, people were trying to like, fuck you, Triple H.
Well, it's Triple H.
Yeah, but it's anybody trying to garner sympathy. Like we were saying about Randy Orton.
I think when you have a kick-ass match like that and you stand there kind of like selling your battle wounds, sometimes the crowd will give you a standing ovation just out of appreciation for the effort. But it did seem like...
Because she was like, oh, I'm the victim of cheating again.
I got screwed again. Hey, don't forget I'm the babyface getting screwed over here. Like, react for me in that way. And the crowd was like, yeah. They were behind Becky. They were really behind Becky. And Becky kind of, she worked a little bit like a babyface. The promo before the match was a bit of a babyface promo. This hasn't worked. Turning Becky heel and keeping Bianca a babyface through this thing. It just has not worked. When Becky comes in and beats you in 5 seconds, you could say you weren't ready, whatever. She beat you clean in the middle of the ring in like 5 seconds. That's not how you build a babyface. Like, you could say, oh, Bianca wasn't ready.
And like Bianca is like babyface character. Yeah, she's just this like, you know, she's just become this like nerd who pulls out the rule book. Nobody likes that person who pulls out the rule book.
Yep.
And goes, actually, according to this, I should have won. It's like, why would anyone cheer for that?
She's a real stickler.
Yeah.
She's a real stickler. She's like, SummerSlam, it's not fair. I was supposed to wrestle Sasha, but then Sasha wasn't there. And then I was supposed to wrestle Carmella, but then Carmella had to get away because Becky came in, and I wasn't ready, and that's why I lost. And then at Crown Jewel, it wasn't fair because Sasha got pinned. I didn't get pinned. It's like, yeah, but you were in the match, weren't you? It's a triple threat match. You know the rules going into it, don't you? Yeah, but it's not fair because nobody ever beats me, and it's not fair except when I lost in 7 seconds. I don't care how unprepared you are. You don't lose a match in 7 seconds, right? Like, it's a strange way to book Bianca as this whiny stickler. Even with the match that she got tonight against Becky Lynch, you know how she got that match? She goes last week on the show, she's doing a promo, and she goes, Becky, so last week I beat Charlotte, and it was non-title, but Charlotte is the Raw Women's Champion, and usually if you beat the Raw Women's Champion in a non-title match, you get a title match according to the rules, right? Like, yeah, exactly.
Section 2, paragraph 3.
According to the rules, so you're technically the Raw Women's Champion, and I beat the Raw Women's Champion last week, even though that wasn't you, and even though I think I won by disqualification, I still deserve a title shot this week. And for some reason, WWE's like, yeah, all right, you get the title shot. And then Becky beats her, and then Bianca's like, well, she cheated. It's like, no one wants to cheer for a whiny, complaining loser that's bigger and stronger than everybody else. It's like you don't have any sympathy because you look more impressive than everybody. You're clearly like you could kick their ass, a lot of them, you know? And all you do is lose and complain. It's really a shitty way to build Bianca. I feel terrible for Bianca because she's awesome, but they don't know how to make her a babyface. But I still think that the EST gimmick that they insist on continuing to use for her, if you're going to go out and say you are the great-est, strong-est, fast-est, if you're going to keep talking about how great you are all the time, people are going to be like, all right, you're kind of a cocky heel, right?
Yeah.
Like, more.
I am the game and I am that damn good.
Baby faces are supposed to be humble. You know? Humble and aggressive.
Yeah.
Strange. Angelo dropping a super chat. He says, I think Becky and Bianca will continue to feud. Well, I don't know. It seems like Becky's going to get involved with Liv Morgan. Everybody likes Liv Morgan. I don't know why I say it like that.
Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan. I don't know.
Still Halloween here.
I can't believe she's still with WWE, to be honest. Becky cuts a backstage promo later on in the night, and it seemed like WWE was like, okay, you got a babyface reaction there with Bianca. We need to rein it in. We need to make you a heel again. Cut a promo now and talk about how much the fans are stupid and how you don't like the fans.
And wear funny glasses and a big Elvis costume.
It really felt like they were like, okay, we need to reset from babyface Becky back to heel Becky because we fucked up. And it's like, all right, fine. So Becky's like, the fans, you fans, you're so fickle. You cheered for me before when I was, good, and now that I'm at the top, you don't want to cheer for me because you're jealous of me. And, she's trying to cut a promo on the fans to get heat again because she's getting a lot of cheers. And that's not what WWE wants, even though they put her in these positions where she's obviously going to get cheered. Like, they put their talent in these spots where it's like, obviously, it's not. You're not going to get the reaction you're looking for here, WWE.
Sometimes, a good heel will tell their audience, you're all pigs. And the fans will go, yes, yes, we are. We love you. It just happens like that sometimes.
It happens.
We want our slop.
I mean, it depends. It depends who you are and how you say it and how much people actually like you. That's another thing in modern-day professional wrestling. Like, heel, babyface, it doesn't really matter. There are certain wrestlers that people are going to like and certain wrestlers people are just not going to like. And you could try to turn certain people babyface or certain people heel. It might not always work, Like, look at Roman Reigns. Talented guy. He's got the look. He's got everything. They tried to make him a babyface. It didn't fucking work. Now he's a heel. Everybody says he's doing great. I still think it's a little boring, a little eh. But, it's much better than what it was. That babyface character that wasn't working, this head of the table thing is much better, much more believable, at least, right?
More natural.
Just give us something that's believable. Seth Rollins is a heel. That makes sense. Seth is a babyface. I don't know if that would work, Becky as a heel right now, I mean, she cuts a promo at the beginning of Raw. She's like, people aren't cheering for me. I'm hearing people boo me. And it's like, how could you boo me? Do you have any idea how hard it is to have a kid and be a mother and then come back in the best shape of my life and win all these matches and still not get any appreciation? Like, what's wrong with you people? And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's true.
It's true.
Like, it is difficult for Becky to have done what she's done and go through everything and have a kid and come back in the best shape of her life. Like, it's very impressive, and you want to cheer her for it, but the WWE says, no, she's a heel. And who's going to be the babyface to oppose her? Well, Becky says Bianca has to get to the back of the line, so no more Bianca, but Liv Morgan. She shows up and faces off with Becky, so maybe something will happen there, but Becky leaves. Angelo did say he thinks Becky and Bianca will continue to feud. I think they probably will because, Bianca Belair, old stickler Bianca, she's going to say, well, I got hit in the face with the exposed turnbuckle, and you grabbed my tights. Like, you cheated to win, Becky. It's not fair. I deserve to have another match.
I went to the board of directors.
I'm the best, but I keep getting screwed in these wrestling matches because I can't figure out how to, not get cheated out of victories. She's going to do it. It's what Bianca does, right? It's her gimmick. She gets screwed out of matches, and then she's like, I got screwed. Give me my... Babyfaces will be like, I got screwed, but so what? Whoever the top contender is, I'm going to beat them till I'm undeniable, and you're going to have to face me again. I don't care who it is. Bring the next person out. Give me Liv Morgan. Give me, whoever you have out there. I will beat them, and then I will be back in your face, Becky Lynch, and you will never be able to get rid of me because I am the best. And it's just a matter of time before everybody else recognizes it, and I'm back as champion again. Like, that's the kind of promo she should cut.
Because I'm the hungry-est.
I'm the hungry-est. I'm the mean-est. And I am the fucky-est you've ever met. Don't fucky with me. I'm Bianca Belair.
I'd love it if she chose that.
I'm the fuckiest.
Don't fucky with me.
No fucky with Bianca.
I'd wear a t-shirt like that. Yeah, no fucky with Bianca.
Make that shirt. No fucky with Bianca. With Montez's face on the face. Like, no fucky with Bianca. Only me. Only Montez.
Praise God.
He makes fucky with Bianca. God is good. Montez always tweeting that out. It's like the only thing he tweets out. I follow Montez on Twitter. Tweets out God is good. Like all the time.
Allahu Akbar.
I wonder if... No, I'm not going to go there.
That's what it means.
Yeah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something else in my mind. Austin Theoretical beat Rey Mysterious today. That was nice. Domino Mysterio caused a disqualification. He punched Austin Theoretical after Austin Theory kicked him in the face. Dominic didn't like that, so he punched Austin Theory, and I guess the ref saw it and then disqualified him. The match was pretty good, though, between Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio. I liked it.
Yeah, Austin Theory got a lot of potential.
That reverse torture rack breaker that he gave to Rey, sick nasty. Tremendous move. Tremendous.
But his gimmick of just like, like the millennial with the selfies, that's such like a old man being like, what's this thing from 2013? Yeah, we can apply it now. I'm just learning about it now.
Yeah, let's do selfies.
Did you know that you could take a picture of yourself?
They call it a selfie.
I took a picture of myself in the mirror. Mirror.
I look great. Yeah. It was a mirror selfie. Took my shirt off.
Send it to Linda.
I send it to Zelina Vega. I said, put that on your Twitch channel. I'm twitching.
Yeah, I'm twitching.
What's Twitch? I got a Twitch. I think it's the juice, baby. All right, Zelina and Carmella beat Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash. Yeah, that's right. Zelina and Carmella beat the women's tag team champions Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash. Rhea and Nikki actually wrestled on the show this week, which was surprising because they've just been doing these little backstage promos. They've been doing absolutely nothing, and I was talking last week about how there's no tag teams to even face them in the WWE. But, hey, they found one, or at least they just put one together. Zelina and Carmella, because why not? They're not doing anything. And Zelina actually won. Got the pin on Nikki after Code Red and a distraction from Carmella. So I guess Queen Zelina and Carmella.
Princess Carmella probably will be a thing.
Ugh. So they're a thing, and they beat Rhea and Nikki. And the match was actually not bad and given some time. Not the best match on the card, but, not a terrible match that I was offended by. There was nothing terrible about it. Finn Balor beat Chad Gable. Fantastic.
Excellent match.
Like, so good.
Maybe my second favorite match of the night.
Oh. We should rank the matches. Because there's a lot of good matches, but I don't know if this was my second favorite. I think Becky and Bianca was probably my second favorite, but this is up there. Third favorite match, and on a normal episode of Raw, this would have easily been match of the night, right?
Yeah.
Like, most episodes of Raw, it's not that good. Tonight, fantastic. What a great show tonight. Like, I'm going through these matches, Everything was goddamn terrific. You have Becky and Bianca. Excellent. Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio. Excellent. Zelina and Carmella against Rhea Ripley. Yeah, fine.
Solid.
Finn Balor and Chad Gable. Excellent. Finn beats Chad Gable with a pinfall after a roll-up. Looked like they both had their shoulders down, but on the replay, Finn had a shoulder up there. Nice little pinfall. Excellent match between Gable and Finn. Those guys are great. I wish they would do more with Gable, because every time he goes out there, he's jobbing out. They could do more with him. He's so good. He's so talented. They just don't do anything with him. Street Profits beat the Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. This was a weird one.
Yeah, this is where the Raw kind of stopped a bit.
Yeah, this was this is probably my least favorite match of the night. Street Profits beat the Dirty Dogs by disqualification when Omos shows up and just attacks the Street Profits. Omos just showing up. No AJ Styles, just Omos.
Second week in a row.
Where's AJ? Is he okay?
That's a vacation time, maybe yeah.
Maybe vacation,
or he's got to rehab some kind of injury, but like he still maintains relevancy with Omos there. I don't know. He does work his body pretty hard. He's not getting any younger.
Or maybe certain venues they're going to, you need to be vaccinated to perform in.
They were in Rhode Island tonight.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility because it's happening in sports.
Don't they have a policy?
I don't think they have a policy that you have to be vaccinated. I don't think so.
Oh, it's tricky.
But I know certain venues have that, and it's possible AJ Styles is a devout Republican, and I know a lot of Republicans don't get vaccinated because they don't believe in it, so it's possible, he does land on that.
Devout Republican?
He is. He's like
I know, but it's just like there's an orthodoxy to it now.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it seems like a lot of like American Republicans don't like to get vaccinated. It seems like a thing among those guys, right?
Yeah. But it's Trump's credits that they got there in the first place. I don't know.
Yeah, wasn't Trump the one who was like, we're going to have a vaccine, it's all going to be for me, and it's going to be fine, and then a lot of the people that supported Trump are like, yeah, he's going to give us a vaccine, and then once the vaccine came out, Trump was kind of done, so they were like, wow, fuck the vaccine. It was like, wait a second, didn't you want it before with the guy with the thing,
But now they're different vaccines.
Oh, are they?
They switched them.
Oh, yeah.
To Antifa vaccines.
I don't trust that Joe Biden either. I don't trust any of these guys. I'll tell you. I don't like any of these guys. All these politicians, they're all liars.
I miss Bernie.
Street Profits beat the Dirty Dogs by disqualification. Omos. So I don't know where AJ Styles is. I don't think it's a vaccine thing. He might be just chilling and relaxing and vacationing and playing video games. And why show up to Raw? Like, he didn't have a match tonight. Let Omos do this shit. What's AJ got to be there for? AJ's done enough. Let AJ Styles rest. The guy's a goddamn legend. I'm not trying to disparage the man. I don't want to say anything bad about him. I'm just stating facts. The guy is a Republican. I think he's pretty open with that, and a lot of those guys don't like to get vaccinated. So it's a theory. It's an Austin theory that I'm throwing out there.
Let's just hope he doesn't get the Herman Cain Award.
What is that?
It's what's called like when you're like openly like anti-vax and like, but then you get COVID and die.
Oh, jeez, that's horrible.
Let's just hope he doesn't happen to him.
Is that an internet thing? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it happens.
Sad. Well, okay. Let's pray for AJ. He would appreciate that. We love AJ. Omos Gorilla Press Riddle on the apron, and Randy Orton just watched as his tag team partner was manhandled by a giant.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
Like Randy was just like,
he seemed mad about it. He's like, "Oh, why would you do that?"
Throwing a chair and like.
It's like, what do you mean? Why would he do that? He's Omos. That's what he's doing. He's attacking people. He just attacked 2 Street Profits, and now Riddle comes and tries to attack him. What do you think he's gonna do? He's gonna pick him up in the air above his head, and he's gonna throw him on the ring apron. It was pretty awesome, and Randy's reaction made it even better because he was like, "Oh no, what are you doing?" Despite the fact that Randy didn't make much of an effort to go and attack Omos, he just kind of threw a fit.
Which, like, it's just weird.
And it fits with Randy, though.
And it makes Randy, but it makes, like, Riddle also just look weak again, Like, he just gets his ass kicked, It's everything about Riddle depends on how Randy feels. Like, if Randy wanted to make the save, then Riddle would be saved and all that. But now Riddle just gets his ass kicked and looks pathetic. Everything about his character depends on Randy. It's not good. Like the promo backstage with the Dirty Dogs, it was Riddle alone talking to Ziggler and Rude, and it was just a rambling kind of like nothing promo.
They got to break up Randy and Riddle to save Riddle's career.
Riddle just has to like turn on Randy and just like brutalize him.
Yes.
Like make him bloody, pretend he broke his arm, do something kind of like complicated,
I'm sick of taking your shit, Randy. You RKO me for no reason. You never help me when Omos beats me up. You disappear from Raw weeks at a time. I don't know where you are. You don't call me. You don't give a shit. I'm trying to do everything to keep this team together. I'm nice to you. You're an asshole to me all the time. Fuck you, Randy. I could beat your ass for real easily. I was in the UFC, Randy. I could fight you. And then he does. He beats the shit out of Randy. And you're like, oh, my God. I think Randy died.
And then he could like
just evil Riddle, and then Randy could, or you know what? Honestly, if he did that promo, if he's like, you know what, Randy, I'm sick of you, I'm sick of what you're doing, I'm sick of you not treating me with respect. If he did that promo and then he beat up Randy, I think he'd be cheered for it. I think the fans would be like, yeah, Riddle, fucking get him, get him.
Maybe they don't want that.
Randy could go for the RKO. Riddle could say, no, fuck you, bam, bam, bam. Why not? Randy loves being a heel. That's what Randy would prefer, and it just makes sense. Because right now, Riddle is just being the second banana for Randy, being his little job boy. It's not good for him. It's not good at all. Damian Priest beats T-Bar. This is the match of the night. No DQ match. Excellent match for the United States Championship. kind of reminded me that Damian Priest was the U.S. champion. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got that now. Okay.
So it always happens with the U.S. champion. It always just like, oh, yeah, that's what you're doing.
Forgot about this belt.
You have something.
Damian Priest beats T-Bar after his, I don't know what it's called. It's like a crossroads
Clumsy
thing.
crossroads.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
don't
weakest
like
part
it.
of his character.
Yeah, I don't like it. The finisher, but everything else about this match is fantastic. He, like, really kind of looked like a demon at certain points, Damian Priest, like, just going all full banana, like, like going nuts. He looked pretty cool. He was going for it, and the match was violent. T-Bar hit this choke slam backbreaker on Damian Priest off the top rope. Priest is on the top rope. T-Bar grabs him, goozles him, choke slams him, like grabs him by the throat and slams him down on his own knee. It was incredible. T-Bar broke a kendo stick on Damian Priest's stomach. Big welts on Priest's stomach. Priest, like, fucking obliterated T-Bar with a chair. Like, those chair shots were sick.
And then T-Bar, like, actually took a bump where his face, like, smashed into the chair. Like, he fell face first into, like, the
off
chair
of, like,
leg.
a clothesline. He
Into
did
the
like
leg.
He took a clothesline. He did a flip, and his face kind of landed on the leg of the chair. That was accidental. That
And
wasn't
the
even
table
on
spot.
purpose. And then the table spot, T-Bar takes a choke slam off the apron through the table. And, like, foomp, big bump. These are big dudes. T-Bar, they said he's 6'7", but I think he's about maybe 6'5", 6'6". He could be 6'7". The guy's gigantic. Damian Priest is huge, too. This is a big, hard-hitting match. This is exactly what you like to see, and a lot of weapons used, a lot of violence. This was my match of the night.
I really hope this leads to bigger things, especially for T-Bar, because it's so much in WWE. They always say, make the most of the opportunities you're given. You're given a match, on Raw, put everything out there. And that's what he did. And he did that last week, too. And I really hope, he's able to, grab that brass ring. Get a little higher up on the card, maybe get a name change.
Go back to Donovan Tajakovic, man. That was his name in NXT. It worked. He had a gimmick going. I have no idea why they made him T-Bar. I guess, I think at one point they had plans for Retribution, like they were actually going to make them a real group and do something with them, and then it fizzled very quickly. I mean, you remember how Retribution started when they were, like, attacking everybody?
Yeah, they were like the Nexus.
There was like 1 million of them at one point on SmackDown, like beating everybody up. Like Retribution was this crazy group that was invading both shows. And then when they finally actually debuted as wrestlers, it was like, this isn't really working out.
Yeah, it was a big wet fart.
Yeah, it sucked.
But good for T-Bar.
But T-Bar's fantastic, man. Donovan Tajakovic, I think he should just be Donovan Tajakovic. I don't know why they're sticking with this T-Bar gimmick, but they seem to be. Maybe after this match he'll move on, but Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz showed up after the match and challenged Damian Priest to a U.S. title match, so it seems like Priest's next move is going to be against Crews. That'll be a feud for the U.S. title, which leaves T-Bar kind of out in the cold. And after a match like tonight, like this was an opportunity for T-Bar to really prove himself. And after tonight, I want to see more T-Bar. I really do. We need to. He's fantastic. And Damian Priest, too, he's slowly becoming one of my favorite guys to watch on Raw. He's doing really well. The match tonight was very good. Him, too, like I wish he had a different name. I wish they both had their old names. T-Bar should be Donovan Tajakovic, and Damian Priest should be Punishment Martinez. That was his old wrestling name. That's a much better name. Punishment Martinez. Way better than Damian Priest.
There's so much you can do with Punishment Martinez.
Yeah. WWE, they name their guys such ridiculous things sometimes. You can't take them seriously, and it's hard to make a character out of that, And they if Tony Soprano's name was Salvatore Sincere, I don't think the Sopranos would work that well. You remember Salvatore Sincere in the WWE? He had a thing with Sable.
Yeah, he was
remember that
giving
guy?
her flowers and stuff.
Yeah. But imagine, if Tony Soprano, they're like, okay, we're going to do the Sopranos, this mafia show, and we're going to, what's the name of the main guy? Salvatore Sincere. You'd be like, All right. I mean, Gandolfini probably would have made it work, but you would have had to get over the name. You know what I mean?
Although soprano, apparently some people thought it was about opera singers.
I could see that. Even the
name
Soprano.
The Sopranos.
Yeah, that's true.
But
you know,
still,
Damian Priest is not a great wrestling name.
T-Bar.
T-Bar is a very bad wrestling
Dolph
name.
Ziggler. I hate that name.
Yeah, it's not good. Especially considering Dolph Ziggler's real name is Nick Nemeth. It's such a good wrestling name. You got the alliteration, and it's real. Nemeth sounds like a cool last name.
And it sounds like a good amateur wrestler kind of name,
Yeah.
like a Bob Backlund, Nick Nemeth.
The fact that WWE renamed Nick Nemeth Dolph Ziggler tells you everything about the WWE system and how they do things. They're like, fuck it. We can't ever, because they don't think anybody's actually going to be in their company for that long, right? It's just a turnover thing. Because okay, we cannot let them use their real name, because if they use their real name, then they could go outside of WWE and have success using their real name. How about just focusing on the best possible version of this person that you could get for your company, rather than focusing on, well, we can't do that because then they could use it somewhere. It's too good. They could use it somewhere else. That's basically what they're saying. It's no, that name is too good. They could use that somewhere else. We can't do that, so let's change it up slightly or completely, all right?
Yeah, or just give you one name.
Yeah.
You're just Rusev now.
Well, to be fair, in AEW, he also has one name.
Yeah, but at least it's his real name.
Miro. Miro the Redeemer.
God's favorite champion.
Yeah. I mean, certain people get to keep their names. Like Adam Cole got to be Adam Cole in WWE, and he's Adam Cole still. Although
That's
I
not
think
even his real name.
Right.
His name is Austin Jenkins.
I mean, CM Punk was CM Punk, then he was CM Punk, now he's CM Punk. Different companies.
He's just Samoa Joe got to keep his
Bryan
name.
Danielson, they're like, no, Daniel Bryan. Let's change that up.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah, it's weird. The
T-Bar.
It's paranoia.
Yeah.
Really is what it is. How they name their characters.
It's a weird thing that the WWE does, and they do it too often, and it's to their own detriment. The naming of their guys, a lot of them is just, come on.
Yeah, just like a bad soap opera or porno names, just like that,
Yeah.
very unoriginal,
Even
Mason Stronghold.
Even to have a guy named Big E as your WWE champion. It's like his name is Big E. His first name is Big. Last name E. Big E Langston is better. Big Erection would be better. Wasn't there a guy in WCW, Hugh G. Rection? Wasn't that
Is he part of the ICP's kind of group or something?
I don't know.
Or no, it was Hugh Morris had a group, didn't they? Of they all had sexy names.
Who was? Oh, it was Hugh Morris.
Oh yeah, Hugh
Bill
Morris.
DeMott was Hugh G. Rection.
Yeah,
He was Hugh Morris, but then I think later he turned into Hugh G. Rection. First name Hugh, middle name G, last name Rection.
yeah. It was some gimmick in WCW.
I'm surprised no one's called Big E Rection yet.
It's a bit on the nose or something.
A little too gross.
Yeah,
It's not the 90s anymore, pal.
I mean, Big E could get pretty body.
Yeah, how come he hasn't done it? I thought he
Yeah.
would.
Big meaty men slapping meat, whatever.
Yeah.
That's like a phallic kind of imagery.
So Big E versus Seth Rollins seems to be the match for Survivor Series. We're coming up to Survivor Series now. Only 2 more episodes of Raw before Survivor Series, okay? I know you feel like it's a long way away, but it's creeping up real quick. It is the 21st of November, Survivor Series in Brooklyn, New York. We got Raw next week in Louisville, Kentucky, and then the following week in Indianapolis, and then that's it. We got Survivor Series that week. 2 more episodes of Raw before Survivor Series, and it seems like Seth Rollins versus Big E will go down at Survivor Series unless they do the match on the Raw before. I'm not sure what the WWE has planned for Survivor Series. It really seemed like they were going to do what they've been doing over the past few years and have the Raw champion versus SmackDown champion, which would mean Big E, as WWE champion, would face Roman Reigns as Universal champion in a non-title match at Survivor Series. Charlotte Flair, as SmackDown Women's champion, would face Becky Lynch as Raw Women's champion at Survivor Series, which, people want to see.
They haven't really addressed it since.
No. Well, Charlotte kind of did, but kind of didn't on SmackDown.
They pulled it for media appearances, apparently.
Yeah, but she did a promo on SmackDown that just didn't address it enough in any significant way, and it was just kind of like, you had an opportunity there, and you kind of blew it. But they can still do the match at Survivor Series, but it does seem like Roman Reigns is involved in something with Brock Lesnar still. Because Brock Lesnar is still like a character. I know they suspended him indefinitely for attacking Adam Pearce, but then last week they kept Brock Lesnar's name on the show. They said he's fined $1 million, and then Paul Heyman cut that promo about Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns wasn't on SmackDown, so you figure Roman and Brock might happen again here at Survivor Series, but then you don't have the champion versus champions match, which has also been teased by Big E. Like, at one point, Big E, after he won the WWE title, Heyman told him, like, oh, you cashed in on the right guy. You shouldn't have cashed in on Roman. That wouldn't have been good for you. And Big E says to Heyman, well, we'll see what happens at Survivor Series. I'm going to beat Roman there, and then I'll prove that I'm the man type of thing. And we've already kind of heard, rumblings of, champion versus champion matches for Survivor Series. But now, with Seth Rollins in the mix, you only have 2 weeks to do this match if you're going to do it on Raw. And next week you're not doing it because it's going to be Seth versus Kevin Owens, probably, because Kevin Owens did make the challenge tonight. Are you going to do Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns on SmackDown before Survivor Series, or are you going to save this match for Survivor Series? Or, I don't know. I feel like the Seth match, like Brock, he's suspended indefinitely. You could get away with pushing it to January. They have a pay-per-view January 1st. That's the next pay-per-view after Survivor Series. You could get away with that for Brock. But with Seth and Big E, Seth won a title shot last week. You got to do that match either before Survivor Series, at Survivor Series, or maybe the Raw the next night, because it will be in Brooklyn too. Like, they're doing Survivor Series in Brooklyn, then Raw the next night in Brooklyn. You could maybe get away with pushing the Big E Seth match for the WWE title then, but it's a while.
Yeah, because then the next pay-per-view is that New Year's Day pay-per-view, I think.
Yeah.
There's no December pay-per-view now.
No, that's right.
It's be the New Year's Day one. And, I was about to say, I don't think Brock and Roman's going to happen, but I'm looking at the calendar. And the SmackDown is before the pay-per-view is in Hartford.
Yeah.
Home base. They like to do some home of a WrestleMania 11.
They could do some stuff there in Hartford, Connecticut. It's real close to home. That's one of the main hubs for WWE, has been historically. I think Hartford is a place where you could do a title change. I could see them doing Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns on the SmackDown on the 19th in Hartford going into Survivor Series. And I could see them doing Big E versus Seth on the 15th there in Indianapolis, the go-home show for Survivor Series there. I think Big E and Seth, what I would do is I would have Big E and Seth wrestle on Raw. Big E would win. I would have Roman and Brock wrestle on SmackDown, and Brock would win and become the new Universal Champion and go up and face Big E at Survivor Series and lose to Big E. Although, probably not. WWE would not do that. I would like for them to really push Big E and do something there, but if Brock is going to beat Roman, I can't imagine him losing to anybody 2 days later.
No.
Right?
Yeah,
WWE's not doing
huge
that.
When Roman drops the belt.
Yeah, if Brock does beat Roman, I don't know. Maybe
it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell what they're going to do here. But the Seth Rollins thing throws a wrench in the plans for Survivor Series. Unless you just push the Brock-Roman match. Because Brock and Roman are still involved in something. Roman's not involved in anything else other than a Brock Lesnar thing. So you would think maybe Brock, Roman at Survivor Series, before Survivor Series, but you could push it to January. But Seth and Big E, I think you got to do soon. So if not next week, then the week after on Raw. I really hope it doesn't mean Big E drops the belt and we do Seth Roman at Survivor Series, which,
oh, Christ.
I mean,
I didn't think about that.
could happen. Anything's possible in the WWF, pal. Anything. So, I don't know. We got some interesting couple of weeks of TV leading up to Survivor Series. We'll see what the WWE does. But, you know, they have done a lot of title changes the week of Survivor Series. So it wouldn't be out of the question to see somebody drop a belt, a big belt, the week of Survivor Series. Even Roman Reigns, who has held the belt for a long time, although I've heard they want to do like a super run with Roman over a couple of years. So I could see Roman not dropping the belt, but they have done it before, right? Didn't
Jinder dropped to AJ.
Jinder dropped to
and
AJ.
AJ dropped to Daniel Bryan.
And AJ dropped to Daniel Bryan the next year.
Mm-hmm.
On SmackDown. So SmackDown's leading into Survivor Series. We have seen some big title changes that changed one of the main events for Survivor Series. So it is possible. If they book Brock versus Roman for that SmackDown on the 19th in Hartford, Connecticut, could be a title change.
Could be.
I think it probably will be. If they book that match for that SmackDown, why else would they do it other than to make a title change there?
Because those previous two title changes were to improve the opponent for Brock Lesnar. You know, it was originally going to be Jinder versus Brock, and no one wanted that. So it was like, okay, let's put AJ in there so we can get a good match out of Brock. And then the next year was like, well, we don't want to do AJ versus Brock again. So, and hey, here's Bryan. And then Bryan turned heel, and that started his whole run for WrestleMania, really.
Yeah.
That was a huge, swerve.
That was really big when he won the title. He did the whole change the belt and everything.
Yeah.
That was that whole run.
And he turned heel.
And
which I did not expect.
Brock, here in this instance, would be winning to be booked at Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, unless it's going to be Brock versus Roman, there's no Brock Lesnar match at Survivor Series unless he wins the Universal title and then goes on to face WWE Champion. If you are doing the champion versus champion match, that means you're not going to have Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series, which is possible, but I don't know. We'll see. A very good episode of Monday Night Raw tonight. I enjoyed it. One of the best episodes you'll see in a long time. Great.
The best one of the year.
Great matches. Becky and Bianca, fantastic. Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio, fantastic. Finn and Chad Gable, another great one. Damian Priest and T-Bar, excellent match of the night. And Big E and Kevin Owens, another great match. Interesting finish there for Kevin Owens. Is he going to AEW? Is he leaving the WWE at least? We'll see. Doesn't have to be going to AEW. Could be Impact Wrestling. You never know. A lot of people signing to Impact these days. Saw Braun Strowman maybe going to Impact. Bronson Reed, I think, was supposed to join Impact, but he couldn't get a visa, so not yet. But I think he's headed towards Impact. I know a great Montreal wrestler, Speedball Mike Bailey, has signed with Impact Wrestling. So Congratulations to Mike Bailey. Excellent wrestler. If you haven't seen him, tune into Impact. He's going to be kicking serious ass there. The guy is fantastic. So very happy to see Mike Bailey sign with a big wrestling company like Impact. But I think Kevin Owens very likely to go to AEW. Very likely. After tonight, it
like
seems
a natural fit.
Yeah, it just seems like a matter of time. I mean, he tweeted out the coordinates to Mount Rushmore at one point, right? Mount Rushmore was his group in PWG with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. Come on. It's a matter of time.
And like at the same time, like there was like blurbs of like Adam Cole talking about how important Kevin Owens was to like helping him develop as a wrestler and like and the Young Bucks, you know. Just
I heard Adam Cole on the AEW Unrestricted podcast there, and he was talking about Kevin Owens, saying, you know, Kevin is a big reason why I got booked in. Kevin's the reason why I won the PWG championship. Kevin's a big reason why, you know, I got shot in WWE. Like Kevin and Adam Cole, Kevin's always kind of been looking out for him and been a good friend to him along the way. And I think Kevin and the Bucks and Adam Cole are pretty tight, and I could see them all being together again. So
make for good TV.
I think that's where we're going.
I mean, you know, just that roster is so fucking stacked.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, it's just like, oh, if Kevin Steen joins in, you know, and if you have, you know, like if he joins up with the Elite, you know, you could have like, you know, like the Super Elite kind of thing against, you know, like Brian and Christian and Jurassic Express.
It's not even that the roster is so much more stacked than the WWE's roster. It's just that they use the pieces properly. Like Bryan Danielson is treated like a main eventer in this company. CM Punk is treated like a main eventer in the company, as he is. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these guys are treated properly, whereas, like, Rey Mysterio, he's having, like, competitive matches with Austin Theory. Like, in AEW, if Rey Mysterio was there, like, he'd be treated like a legend, like Chris Jericho is. You know what I mean? Like, certain guys are treated properly in AEW, whereas in WWE, the way certain guys are booked, you're like, why is this happening to this guy? Like, why do that? Like Kevin Owens. Like, Kevin Owens is very talented. In WWE, it's like, why are you treating him like this, And then at the same time, you see other guys that are not as talented, and you're like, why are they getting all of this? Why do I have to watch Seth Rollins talk again? What's all these Seth Rollins promos? It's like a lot of that. A lot of strange stuff that you see in WWE, and you're like, why do you insist on giving us this stuff that's just not quite working, And then there's stuff that does work. They give us little bits, and they don't want to give us the whole piece. It's weird sometimes what they do with WWE. It's just like, hey, we're going to give you some stuff. We're not going to give you everything that you want. Just kind of a little trickle. It's like they know what the fans want. They don't want to give it to them. They're like, nah, we're going to give you what we want to give you, and, just deal with it. But AEW's kind of trying a little bit harder.
Yeah, just making it matter a bit more.
And they treat certain guys a little bit better, Guys that you respect and want to see treated well are treated well. And in WWE, certain guys that you respect and you want to see treated well are kind of treated like jabronis, and it's sad.
Yeah, like AEW, like when like a main eventer guy wrestles a lower card guy, it's not treated as like, oh, I got to wrestle this guy. It's like a real match, like Brian, wrestling like Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
Or or like John Moxley wrestling, like Danny Garcia once or something. It's just like it's not treated like, oh, here comes this guy and he's just gonna run through. It's like, oh no, it's like a kind of competitive match. They might have like a little heated promo.
But that the higher booked guy is still gonna win. But it makes it interesting. Sometimes they don't win convincingly enough, some of these guys in AEW. Some of these matches are a little too competitive because they're very giving to their opponent, but I don't know.
Although I liked John Moxley just brutalizing 10 on Dynamite, blooding him up with like the mask. Looked like his like face got shot off.
No, that was really good the way they did, because that wasn't a competitive match. Yeah. Like, that's sometimes you have to do that. Like, he doesn't need to have a competitive match with 10. He needs to run through 10, beat the shit out of 10, pin him in 2 minutes, and then just run out of the arena. Like, that's what John Moxley needed to do there with 10. That was perfect. But sometimes some of these guys have matches with these other guys, and you're like, why is this so competitive? It doesn't make sense. Because if you're really competitive with this guy who's really low on the card, and then you're also really competitive with this other guy who's high on the card, how does it match up? Like, it's not consistent. It doesn't make sense.
That's true.
Like, if you're fighting this guy who sucks at fighting, and it's like hard to beat him, it's
maybe that guy.
You're not going to compete against a world champion. You know what I mean?
But it's a good way to build the guy who you think sucks, because you're like, oh,
but it is established that they suck because they lose a lot. Those guys.
Yeah, but like Eddie Kingston might get a little push up the card eventually.
Yeah. Well, Eddie Kingston's not a jabroni.
No,
he's different.
Yeah, kind of like a jobber to the stars, kind of.
Nah, he's a little bit more than that. He's a little bit more than that, I think. They treat him like more than that, anyways. Yeah. He's not beating Bryan Danielson, and I think he's gonna feud with CM Punk. I don't think he's beating CM Punk either.
Yeah, we'll see.
Angelo's saying that there's rumors that The Rock is going to make a video appearance at Survivor Series to start a feud with Roman for Mania. Maybe. Video appearance at Survivor Series. Pretty weak to start a feud. Pretty weak. I don't need to see that. I mean, I guess get it over with for Survivor Series. I mean, get it over with for WrestleMania, because it's going to happen at some point, so hopefully we get to see it at WrestleMania in 2022, and we don't have to wait till 2023. Like, let's just do it already. If Roman is head of the table and head of the family, The Rock is, also head of the table, head of that family. They're in the same family, so, the feud writes itself. And then Roman beats The Rock because Roman has taken the throne away, and Roman is the new king of the family because he's the WWE champion, and Rock is old, and he's just a movie guy now. That's the story. Easy.
Have a couple shoot promos, about who takes care of, whatever.
Yeah, you could do that, but
I bought you a car.
The problem is, like, no matter how heated they get in promos, you're never gonna believe there's real heat. And that's the problem with The Rock versus Roman. Like, it makes sense for the story of Roman's head of the table, head of the family type of thing with the Usos and everything, but
it'll just be like Roman Reigns.
It's
you
not
go
like-
out, you talk.
yeah, it's not like Rock and Cena,
No,
where it's like, oh, you feel the heat there, and it's interesting. You
or
know?
Rock and Punk.
And, like, I don't think Rock will mind losing to Roman. He loves him.
Yeah.
He wants to lose to Roman. He's trying to help the family, help the business. You know, I mean, come on. It's just, like, it's cool and all, and it makes sense storyline-wise. If Roman is going to come out and say he's head of the family, head of the table, The Rock should come out and say, whoa, 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 what about me, jabroni? And then they wrestle, and then Roman wins, and then he proves that he really is the guy. Great. All right, we're shutting it down. I'll be back here Wednesday night after Dynamite, and that's it. Thank you, Harold, for dropping a super chat. You are the super chat leader of the night. Thank you, Angelo, as well. Although Angelo's real close, I assume he's just going to jump in and beat Harold.
Mm-hmm.
That's very Angelo style.
Photo finish.
But you're going to have to do it quick, Angelo, because I'm wrapping the show up right now. Okay? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, do all the things. Do the things. There are many things for you to do. Support the Ringside Report Network. Go to join.ringsidereport.net. If you're a member of the channel, thank you. If you're not a member of the channel, what are you waiting for? Become a member of the channel. It's $5 a month, and you support the Ringside Report Network and keep us going. You want to keep us going? You never know. You never know. Maybe you don't want to keep us going, and that's why you're not a member. I mean, why are you watching then if you don't want us to keep going? You know what I mean? That's a little weird. I don't understand that. But sometimes people like to torture themselves, you know? So maybe you hate the show. You don't want to support the show. You want to watch, and you want to see us go away eventually, which maybe it will happen. If you keep not supporting the show but watching the show, maybe we will go away. I don't know.
It's like Howard Stern. You know, like the numbers, the people who love him are good, but then the people who hate him, you know, are even bigger.
Better.
Because they all want to see what he's going to say next.
I'd rather just be loved. I don't really want to be hated by people, but hey, I'll take it.
I'll take both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Yeah, Michael Scott. Good one. Angelo dropping a super chat. He says, thanks for a great show, guys. Good night. Angelo's super chat leader.
Done it again.
Did a sound effect hit? I didn't hear a sound effect. Did it go on the screen? I didn't see it.
I didn't hear the super chat.
I saw it on the chat. I see it in the chat right now, but I don't see it on the screen.
A little delayed time.
Maybe we got a production delay.
It'll come, though. Any second now.
Oh, I see it there on the screen. Maybe I missed it. I didn't see the effect, though.
Sometimes it comes a little later.
That's weird. That was a weird one. The effect didn't hit. All right.
Super chat.
Oh, there we go. Goddamn.
Hey. All right,
That was
rest
slow.
easy.
That was slow. Why is it so slow? All right. We'll have to get that fixed. Thank you, Angelo. You're the super chat leader. Thank you, Harold. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you guys supporting the Ringside Report Network, watching the show, doing all the things. I'll be here Wednesday night after Dynamite to recap Dynamite, and then I'll be back Friday night after SmackDown to recap SmackDown and talk about Rampage. Dynamite's in Kansas City on Wednesday. Rampage is in St. Louis. SmackDown this week in Evansville, Indiana. So a big week in professional wrestling. And we have another UFC watch-along coming up, UFC 268 on Saturday for a big pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden. Kobe Covington and Kamaru Usman for the UFC Welterweight Championship. If you missed our watch-along, we did one on Saturday for UFC 267. Blachowicz versus Teixeira, and that's on the Ringside Report Network channel right now. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you again on Wednesday night after Dynamite.